everyone, Betsy here.
And Trent's here too.
If you haven't already heard, we're doing a month-long celebration to mark our first full year of patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
This is called shameless self-promotion, everybody.
So to celebrate, every week this month, we are sharing an extended clip from one of our Patreon shows. This week is a sample of our show Real Love, where we covered Pretty Woman, which was the first time Trent had ever seen that movie.
Yeah, Real Love is Betsy's show where she gets to show me any romance movie or romantic comedy that she wants, and I have to watch it.
Those are the rules. And we hope you enjoy this clip. And if you'd like to hear the rest of it, you can join us at patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where through the month of December, you can sign up now and get a discount on your first month. So enjoy the clip, and we hope to see you there. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Real Love. My name is Betsy, and with me, as always, my cynical, long-suffering husband. It's Trent.
Hello, everybody.
Trent, today we are covering a major milestone of
This
a
is
movie.
a big one. Yeah, another one.
That you, until today, had never watched before. So although it would qualify for the main show, this is going out especially for our patrons on Patreon. We watched 1990's Pretty Woman.
Which is a movie that I always have thought about as an 80s movie just because of like the styling and the era and everything
It's a
else.
cusp movie. There's just something about those early years of any decade that get really hard, especially the older movies, they get
Yeah.
confused easily.
Like looking at this movie right now, just the visuals of it, it looks like a 90s movie. It doesn't look like it was made in 89. Maybe that's because it was all kind of shot in LA and maybe they were a little bit more advanced than the rest of the country. I have no idea.
I don't know, but we're going to have a lot of things to talk about because this was your first time experience.
And I think this really fits with a Real Love kind of thing because we really need to analyze that part of it that we don't really do on the main show. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Not so much, but we begin, as we always do, with the meet cute. And I'm going to summarize it
Very, very unique.
very succinctly. She's a prostitute.
Uh-huh.
Now, I could elaborate more and say, well, he was in a car and he got lost and he needed directions and she happened to be No, the long and short of it is
The oldest story in the book.
she's a prostitute. So, Trent, you knew going into this what this movie was.
Yeah,
And
it's the original hooker with a heart of gold.
Kinda, yeah. So obviously you weren't surprised with the circumstances under which they met, but how did you feel about their initial introduction to each other, since the meet cute is not exactly complicated in this one?
No, I think it works better in this case because it doesn't really seem like she's been doing this for very long, and she hasn't gotten all the way in. She's not a jaded person. She's not, I don't really know what to say. She's just not been doing it for very long. So she can be all happy-go-lucky and, oh yeah, sure, how about $20? I'll show it to you myself. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It's interesting that you bring up that because is that something this movie is trying to say, that she hasn't been doing this for that long, so it's, quote, not as bad? Like, there's so many things with the perception of prostitution
I feel like
that you have to talk about when you're watching this movie.
Yes, especially in that era. Nowadays, not so much. Because there's so many different ways to do it.
Oh yeah, just sell your feet. Like pictures of your feet, you can make a living.
We could keep on talking about that, but I don't want to. I think they are intentional here to cast her friend and the other people that she's hooking with to be, not to be mean, but maybe not so pretty. At least in the 1989, 1990 parlance.
Or a little bit white trash or trashy around
More
the edges.
trashier, like the people that you would expect to see on a street corner. Julia Roberts is not one of those people.
She sticks out like a sore thumb.
She
Even
does.
though she's wearing this outfit to make her look like she's supposed to fit in, it doesn't feel in any way like this person.
No, she's not like trying to flaunt things. It's kind of like she raided her friend's closet, or the friend said, hey, you look good in this, go out in this. And she's just like, okay. It's that kind of an attitude.
But that's my question about it is, like, we are trying to dance around the fact that she's a prostitute. Like, oh, well, she's like a good prostitute, not a bad
She's a
one.
classy one,
She
but
doesn't
not
do,
really.
She doesn't do drugs. She's not that kind of a prostitute. But the point is, she is. This is a woman who has sex for money. It
Yes.
doesn't matter if she's done it once, 100 times. That's all irrelevant. But they sort of gloss over that.
And I
so
think
that
that's
we
also
can,
very intentional here.
yeah, so that we can feel like we can save her.
It's also 1990, Betsy. This is not a thing that they've really made a lot of movies about.
No.
Except for like fucking westerns where the town wench is just around the town and, you know.
Well, and she would be considered an immoral woman back in the day.
Of
So,
course.
of course, in all the old, like, Hays Codes movies, she can't have a happy ending. And I think the original ending for this movie was supposed to be something like, if you go back to the script, the original script as it was written, this movie did not end this way. It ended more in line with that, where she's like doing drugs and dies or some horrible thing happens to her.
Jesus,
And
okay.
and then Gary Marshall comes in and he's like, those are not the kinds of movies I make. So he was like,
you could have made a right turn here and said, okay, just let him leave. She's going to go to San Francisco. He's going to go back home to New York. End of movie.
And
you
they
could have
just-
made that.
yeah, they just had the time they had together.
Right.
They changed each other's lives and now they move on.
This is a business transaction. He's a businessman. She's a businesswoman. End of story.
But no, instead, Gary Marshall's like, I like making sappy, warm movies, and I like watching his sappy, warm movies.
Yeah.
So the original intent of the film changed dramatically once he got involved. And once you cast these two, you instead are like, we've got a fucking billion-dollar movie on our hands. Let's go. I guess, you know, in the 90s, movies didn't make $1 billion, but it has since grossed, I'm sure, well
For a
over
movie
that.
like this, and there weren't that many of these kinds of movies. I kind of joke around to say this is the original romantic comedy.
It's not the original, but
No.
it's certainly a significant one. Of modern romantic comedies,
Yeah.
it's like a top 5. Absolutely.
As far as like success level and mind share,
And what it did for the stars of the movie.
that too. Like if you were to ask some random person on the street what is Pretty Woman, they pretty much know what the main beats are. They know probably as much as I did. They would know the stars of the movie. They would know that she's a prostitute and he's a rich man and they fall in love. That's the movie.
But to get to the meat and potatoes of what happens in this, he sort of meets her by mistake. She takes him back to his hotel, and he just on a whim decides, come hang out with me. What if I pay you to stay the whole night? And I'm just saying, she's real bad at this bargaining thing, because she tells him my rate is $100 an hour. And he says, how much for the whole night? You and I can do basic math, and I feel like $300 is like a very low ball offer.
I also feel like she's used to other people doing what they need to do and kicking her to the curb. So she would never expect that he just wants her to hang out
He wants
and
company.
watch TV with him while he works.
Yeah, I'm going to buy you champagne and strawberries. You can drink and eat and just hang out, and I'm going to do stuff over there.
Yeah, and we're still gonna have sex.
Eventually.
No, yeah, eventually we're actually gonna do the deed here. But to start off, I got some business I gotta do. I don't care how much you're charging me. I just don't want you to leave my sight.
And then ultimately the next day he decides, okay, I want you to be around all week. I've got some meetings, I've got some things to do. So how much for the whole week? Again, $3,000. Now, there are more benefits. She gets to stay in this really nice hotel. He's going to feed her. He's going to give her money for clothes, and she gets to keep all the clothes. So there's other things that come from this arrangement, but you know, it's a simple business transaction.
Yeah, and she's just as giddy as a schoolgirl because $3,000 in her mind
And in
is a
1990.
lot of fucking money when she lives in a shithole with a roommate.
It's true. And maybe that's my problem is I'm 34 years removed from this film.
Exactly.
And $3,000 does not get you very far, especially in Los Angeles.
No.
But when you do account for inflation, okay, yes, that is significantly more money than I'm giving it credit for. But through the course of the movie, they fall in love. Because why not? So one of the things I always like to ask you on this show is about the chemistry and do you buy these two as a couple? So I would argue that Richard Gere and Julia Roberts together in this movie are very, very good. I think they have excellent chemistry.
Without question.
But how do you feel watching these two actors and then also the characters? Like, do you buy this arrangement?
So that's a harder question to answer because
No, I need answers.
simply because of the dynamic here, because he has all the money in the world. She has nothing. There is, again, a business relationship here, even though it is very untraditional. He's a businessman and he is proposing this transaction to take place, and it just so happens to involve sex. But if you take that completely away from it, and if they were to have met under different circumstances and they got to know each other through normal circumstances and he isn't a complete asshole, then yes, the answer you're looking for is yes, I do buy them as a couple.
How about long term? Because I think that's more of my question. Because like any good rom-com, it has such a beautiful, happy ending. But let's be honest, when she expresses some concern about, like, what do you expect to happen? And he expresses the same concerns. Like, what happens next? He doesn't live here. She doesn't live in New York. Like,
Right.
where do you go? And
That's why my caveat was there about the natural way of meeting people and getting to know each other. That, like, it's the whole opposites attract thing. I get that. I understand that. But